How's it going, guys? Cody, guys, back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, I'm sorry it's like 9:10 now. I've had a very busy day, guys. What it was, back in December of 2017, there was a deliberate arson attack by 3 cowards on a sleeping family in the dead of the night, and it tragically resulted in the deaths of Demi Pearson, God bless her, may she rest in peace, Brandon Pearson, Lacey Pearson, and little Leah Pearson, aged 3, God bless her, may she rest in peace. Well, the funeral's only just been held today because of the trial, and then there's the talk of a second autopsy and stuff like that. And then Mother Michelle, she was in a coma, and then she came round, and then so cut a long story short, me and Frenchie have provided security free of charge today. You can see the little wristbands there from the day. Personalised wristbands to get into the wake and the funeral and everything. So we provided security there free of charge. Frenchie came up this morning first class on the train, 6:15, got into Manchester for 8:30. We provided security. We walked with the procession. We jumped on the church. We did security. Then we jumped onto the wake. So just honoured, humbled, and absolutely privileged to have been part of that. So I'm sorry that my voice is croaky, guys. I'm absolutely shattered. But during today, while today's going on, my phone's been off all day. Big shout out to Fury's Fist over this. God bless you, CJ, brother, you know who you are. He sent me a story about prison staff protesting over unprecedented inmate violence. Now, I'm going to read the story, guys, before I go on a rant, right? Because, like I say, shit rolls downhill, and unfortunately, prisoners are at the bottom of that hill. Prison officers aren't far off it neither, let me tell you. So I'm going to go into it, guys. I'm going to do the story. My phone's been ringing all day. I've had Sky News trying to hit me up. My phone's been off, guys, as a matter of courtesy and out of respect for the family. My phone's been off all day for the procession, for the church service, obviously, and then obviously for the wake as well, as a matter of courtesy whilst we hold the door. So the headline reads, guys. Anyway, prison staff protest over unprecedented inmate violence. Right. Raging with this, guys, to be honest with you. I don't condone attacks on officers one bit before I start, but I completely understand why they happen as well. So the story reads, prison staff in England and Wales have taken part in widespread protests over unprecedented violence in our jails. Staff complain about safety within prison, say they'd been attacked by gangs of inmates, been spat at, and had urine thrown at them whilst on duty. The union said the protests were outside were a majority of jails, which ended just after 6 hours when the government agreed to talks on Monday. Prisons Minister Rory Stewart said the action was illegal. When it announced the suspension of the protest, the Prison Officers Association said the prison service had withdrawn the threat of court action against the union. Any industrial action that's carried out by the, obviously, Her Majesty's Prison Service is actually banned. It's banned industrial action. It says here, General Secretary Steve Gillen says, we are confident a deal is a deal, adding that he hoped for a meaningful, constructive dialogue next week. The protest caused delays in courts because prisoners were unable to be transferred for hearings. The action came after an inspection report on Thursday found inmates had effectively taken control at Bedford Prison. Brian Cooper, branch chairman of the Prison Officers Association, said the conditions at the jail were unsafe every day. This year so far, we've had an officer who's had his head stamped on and needed emergency surgery for bleeding on the brain. We've had an officer have his arm broke with a pool cue when he was attacked by a prisoner. Another prison officer had a fractured eye socket with part of the bone detached and might lose the ability to move his eye properly permanently. A bucket of urine. A female prison officer who was demonstrating outside Bedford Prison, said she had a bucket of urine thrown over her from an above landing. They're not bothered if you're female, male. They have no respect regardless if you're female, she told BBC Radio 5 Live. We have some issues of being hit. I've been spat at several times. The other week I was spat at twice within 5 minutes in the face. On the occasion, she said to have been tested for hepatitis B. Julia Killick, who was a prison governor for 18 years, said the walkout would have made it horrendous for prisoners, as well as the remaining staff who would have been able to do the absolute minimum. She told Radio 4's World at One that tasks such as serving food would have been difficult to carry out while prisoners could get very angry or distressed having to stay locked up. Prison staff are banned from taking industrial action, so holding protest meetings in car parks or outside the gates on the grounds that health and safety is being compromised is the union's way of trying to circumvent the rules. The POA, or the Prison Officers Association, did it before, most recently in November 2016, when 10,000 officers stopped work before the High Court ordered them to return. This time, the threat of legal action together with the government pledge to address staff concerns were enough to bring the walkout to an end. Nevertheless, pardon me, it was highlighted the very real problems the POA members are facing. There is particular frustration officers haven't been equipped with Parva spray, which is an incapacitant spray, similar to pepper spray to deter and to respond to attacks. A trial has been taking place in 4 jails, but union officials believe the government is stalling on rolling equipment out to other prisons. Before an agreement with the union was reached, the Ministry of Justice said contingency plans were in place and it was seeking an injunction to stop the protests. Labour said the action was a wake-up call for the government, added that extra funding to end understaffing and overcrowding was desperately needed. Image posted on social media showed walkouts at many prisons. And then it goes on to show many prisons, guys. What I'm going to do, I'm going to save these pictures and I'll post them at the start of the video anyway. And there'll be a link in the description like that I always do. It says here, the POA said members were instructed to ensure there was enough staff on duty inside the prisons to deliver medication to prisoners and deal with any disorder. Well, there's going to be no disorder because the lad's going to be locked up behind the door, aren't they? Simple 23-hour fucking lockup, 24-hour lockup. It's accused the government of overseeing the demise of the prison service over the past 8 years. Mr. Gillen said ministers have been paying lip service to the safety and human rights of prison staff. What about prisoners? We will now be demanding that the government provide safe prisons, meet our demands to improve personal protective equipment, reduce levels of violence and overcrowding, he said. Let me tell you, the overcrowding, the Prison Officers Association, guys, do not give 2 shits about prisoners. I'm sorry, but they don't. It's a simple fact. They're after their own. The union said the decision to call for a protest followed a letter from the Chief Inspector of Prisons urging an urgent notification at Bedford Prison, published on Thursday. Inspectors said they found Bedford prisons regularly ignored rules. There was a smell of drugs prevailing from some wings and an infestation of rats, easy for me to say. Peter Clark, the Chief Inspector of Prisons, sent a letter to the Ministry of Justice, which means the government has to publish a response and a plan of action for the jail within 28 days. It is the 4th jail to be subject to an urgent notification process after Nottingham, Exeter and Birmingham. And just for the record, them 4 prisons are not even in the worst 4 prisons in the country, guys. Ramsey, Wealdstone, Hull. Do you know what I'm saying? Right. So let's get into it, guys. Let's absolutely get into it. Right. So I don't condone attacks on officers, but some officers, those that are very hands-on and that like to twist people up, they've got it coming. There are prisoners that lash out, and there's many different reasons why they lash out, guys. They're angry at the system. Prison officers are angry at the system. We don't govern them, and they govern us, but we see the uniform, right? And that's what lads attack, that's what they lash out at. Now, people attack officers for many different reasons. Like I say, the prisoner could have been given a kick-in, prisoners have got long memories, and that's one reason. To pay off debt, a certain prisoner might have a problem with a screw, and he might not want to get a nick in himself. So he'll say to one of the lads on a wing that might owe him money for drugs or something, right, you pot, which is like either swill with urine, shit, or both, or hot water and sugar in the face of the officer, right? But obviously piss or shit is a lot more disgusting in it. Do you know what I mean? Right. Mental health is another reason why prisoners lash out as well. You've got to think, guys, prisons are doubling up as mental health units. Why are they doubling up as mental health units? Because where it costs you £40,000 a year to house a prisoner in prison, whether they're mentally ill or not, and a lot of them are, trust me when I tell you, prison makes people with mental health problems worse. And for those that don't have it, I believe it starts some sustained periods of bang up and stuff, depending on what prison you're in, what regime you're running. So yeah, mentally ill prisoners are in prison, £40,000 a year. You put them in. There was a prisoner in my former prison that I did a vlog about recently, attacked an officer. The way the story was read up, like he had life-changing injuries. It was a Section 47 assault. He got 6 months in prison. He was actually sent to Ashworth Psychiatric Unit. Now, there's the three most secure psychiatric units in England are Rampton, Broadmoor and Ashworth, which is down in Maghull in Liverpool. So yeah, so mental health problems, obviously you're talking to house someone in a mental health unit, a secure mental health unit, high security, you're talking £350,000-400,000 a year. Expensive, but they get the one-on-one care, they get that medication, they get that treatment, they get that one-on-one care that is needed to put them back on the right tracks. Prisoners that there's mentally ill prisoners that are, like, there was a paranoid schizophrenic called Tony Payne. God bless Tony Payne. I still speak to his mother. I spoke to her the other day. He tragically took his own life at Walton Prison earlier this year. God bless him. May he rest in peace. He should have been in a psychiatric unit, or there was another way. She begged the judge, don't send him to prison. So, like I say, anger, frustration, regime, conditions, squalid conditions, non-productive regimes. Like the regimes, guys, because of the staffing problem, it's not the prison officers' fault in this regard, but the regimes are not, there's no productivity. Do you know what I mean? It's just stale, boredom, pure lock-up. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a Cat A, mate, you're spending 20 hours a day locked behind your door. It's as simple as that. But like I say, guys, the prison system's bursting at the seams. And do you know what, guys? Do you know what? By, I think it's 2021 or 2022, they're talking about the prison system, guys, housing in the UK 93,000 plus, right? Currently, it's just over 83,000. Another 10,000 prisoners, man. Are you crazy? We're already seeing record numbers of self-harm, record numbers of assaults. Do you know what I'm saying? The prison situation is in dire straits, guys. It's a humanitarian crisis of the highest order. But people don't care about those at the bottom. Prisoners, people that have been in jail, me, some of these kids here that follow me on Finger, man, like Fury's Fist and all that, he's been in jail, he knows a score, right? So I'm saying, we're at the bottom, nobody speaks up for us. This is why I do interviews, because it drives me fucking insane, right? Yes, I do feel sorry for prisoners, prison officers, sorry, in part. Absolutely. They're a prisoner to the system. They're a prisoner to the system. They carry out industrial action. It's banned. But the POA, guys, I draw the line. The Prison Officers Association do not give a shit about prisoners. I've done interviews with a POA national chair, right? Works at Walton Jail, Mark Furthest. Horrible fucking bastard, right? Do you know what he wants, guys? He wants us in orange jumpsuits. He wants us 23-hour bang up. He wants us in fucking shackles. He wants tactical use of taser. They want powder spray in every fucking prison. They want extendable batons in every prison. They've got body-worn cameras. When they're giving a con a kick in, right, them cameras don't get turned on. As soon as that con goes towards them, camera on, camera on, camera on, and then they fuck them up. And I spoke to a screw in my last jail, or prison officer, screw, whatever you want, turnkey, whatever you want to call them, right, and he said to me, if I twist somebody up or I go too far with someone, I'll speak to security, they'll clear the footage, man. See, the POA, guys, right, at the end of the day, another thing you need to remember as well, another reason why, obviously, violence has escalated in prisons, the smoking ban. The smoking ban was the straw that broke the camel's back, in my opinion. You've got to look, guys, squalid conditions. Prisoners have had enough. Prisoners have had enough. And they're lashing out. They're angry at the system, but they don't see the system, they see the uniform. And again, I don't condone attacks on officers, but again, I understand why they take place, right? The smoking ban, guys, listen to this, right? The Prison Officers Association, right? The union for the prison officers, they lobbied for the smoking ban. They was going to pull a judicial review of the prison service to rush it through. Now, there's two ways. Do you honestly believe that they did it fully so that because of prison officers' safety and health and safety and stuff, and the fact that passive smoking, when you was only allowed to smoke in your cell, or supposed to have only smoked in your cell, everyone's smoking on a landing and doing a bit of this and that, right? Or, my opinion is that they knew that by bringing the smoking ban in, right, and by lobbying to pull a judicial review of the prison to speed it through, that it would see an increase in violence. They've seen an increase in violence, they don't like it, so now they've used that increase in violence to get X, Y, and Z. They want to arm themselves, guys, in prisons. Arm themselves, guys. Do you honestly believe that when I did a prison interview on BBC Radio Wales, which is down my timeline with a national chair of the POA, Mark Furthest, scumbag, right? Listen to the interview. I said, you lobbied for the smoking ban, man. You were seeing an increase in violence. You knew it was coming. You lobbied for it, man. And he was like, the thing is, you know what I mean? You don't know what you're talking about, Cody. And I thought, I fucking do, mate. I know exactly what I'm talking about, mate. And he sidestepped the point that I was trying to bring to him. The smoking ban has caused havoc. The prisons are overcrowded, guys, right? They need to abolish short sentences. They need to address mentally ill prisoners, right? Because the truth is, right, the staff are not mentally health trained, right? And the staff can't do everything. They can't be doing app books and fucking putting out cell-fires and cutting people down that are strung up. God bless anyone that's passed away in that fucking way. Self-harm incident, mental health incidents, fucking violence, you know what I mean? They're putting out cell-fires, the first aiders, you know what I mean? The social workers, they can't do all them things. Prisons are not places of rehabilitation. Let me tell you, rehabilitation is a made-up word. So people like Michael Spur, who's the chief executive of Her Majesty's Prison and Probation Service, can wear a suit and feel important. David Gort, the Justice Secretary, can wear a suit and feel important. And Rory Stewart, right, the prisons minister, who can walk around and wear a suit. They're getting whopping wages, man. Whopping wages. right? And prisoners are suffering immeasurably in prison. It's a humanitarian crisis of the highest order. IPP prisoners should be cut. I think it's about 4,000 IPP prisoners. Get them, fucking free them. Get them cut. Let them go. Abolish short sentences. I've been in prison with kids for murder. I've been in kids with prison for non-payment of parking fines, council tax. Are you fucking shitting me? Do you know what I'm saying? So it's bursting at the seams, overcrowded. Every prisoner should have a single cell. Right? They should. I'm sorry, they should. Right? They need to reduce, right? Some people do need to be in prison for public protection. We get it. I don't like IPP, but some people need to be in prison, and I get it. But those that are non-violent or on short sentences, look at fucking community orders, community payback orders, man. Put them to work in community. It's embarrassing. It gives something back to the community. Sticking them in jail, you're just a waste on the taxpayers' money. I've seen people, guys, go to prison having never taken drugs in their life and are leaving as fucking addicts or worse in body bags. And the prison service, the prison officers associate, oh, the violence is it's untenable. The one thing, right? So they'll do prisoner to prisoner, right? They record on the yearly figures, right? They calculate the prisoner to prisoner assaults and prisoner to prison officer assaults. What you don't get is prison officer to prisoner assaults because apparently they don't happen. Let me know what you think, guys. I feel so strongly about it, guys. I could fucking go on for ages and ages. There's so many problems within the system. And do you know what? Do you want my honest opinion as a former prisoner that's been out of prison like 18 months, 19 months now? Like, it's going to take, right, sadly, for the Ministry of Justice, the clueless guys. They've got these highly educated people. It doesn't need highly educated people. The people in power of the Ministry of Justice, like Rory Stewart, David Gauke, Michael Spur, these people are residing over people that they can't relate to. Before prisoners were ever offenders, guys, they was victims first. Growing up in care, sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused, bullied, parents were addicts, homelessness. So many factors at play. Before offenders were ever offenders, they was first victims. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. Including myself. I put myself in that bracket, right? Not all of us, but most of us. You see what I'm saying? Prison's just churning out monsters by brutalising, for those on the right side of the tracks that want to brutalise us and make us have bread and water and fucking do us over, 23-hour bang up and treat us like shit in squalid conditions reminiscent of Dickensian England in 2018, a developed country. Are you crazy, right? And they think that that's gonna rehabilitate and reform that individual. Are you fucking crazy? All that succeeds in doing, guys, right, by brutalising prisoners in squalid conditions with mental health issues and fucking harsh regimes and no productivity and fucking mental health and everything else, guys. All it succeeds in doing, I'll tell you, demoralise you, desensitise you, dehumanise you, and make you even more disenfranchised than when you enter the system. With fewer police on the streets, guys, since 1996, when comparable records began, crime will be easy to get away with when you get out. There's fewer police on the streets. Community police stations closing down. Frontline policing has been decimated on the Tory government, guys. It's a free rein for criminals to commit crime. And prison, the way that prison currently is, the structure of prisons, creates monsters, guys. It doesn't rehabilitate. Load of bollocks rehabilitation. You tell me what rehabilitated you guys. Are you still at it? Have you been to prison? Have you gone back to crime? Can you understand what... I came away because I've seen what it was doing to my mum. I know people might say, oh, mummy's boy, whatever. I'm not really arsed. What's it for an arsehole? I've got my own opinions, guys, right? And I feel strongly about this, man. Do you know what I mean? I feel so strongly, guys, for the amount of people, right? Prison body bags. Body bags are as much part of prison life as the understaffing, the spice, you know what I mean? The harsh regimes, the shit food. Like I say, prisoners actually should be treated in a humane way that's humane, that they're treated as they do have a stake in society. There is another way to go. Address the mental health issues, man. I've been in prison, guys, and seen people use their own shit, own excrement, sorry, as hair gel. I've seen it, guys. I've seen people slashing up. I've seen people having paranoid illusions, smashing the cell up because they think there's someone in the cell with them. Do you know what I mean? It's tragic, guys. The state of prisons, guys. Prison doesn't work. They invest money around prisoners, right? More locks, more bars, more security, more drug dogs. Guys, if you want to rehabilitate somebody, I've got an idea. Silly as this sounds, people don't listen to people like me. Invest in the people you want to rehabilitate. Rather than making prisoners out of our students, we should be making students out of our prisoners. And stick them on courses and stuff. If every prisoner got a course in the England and Wales, would they survive? Would they rehabilitate themselves and reform themselves? No. Because a lot of them will fall by the wayside. But at the same time, if you don't give them that chance, you'll never know. And the same amount of people, if not more, will grab this and run with it, getting them out of the cell, giving them something to focus on, could even give them homework, things to work. There is educational stuff, guys, with people doing degrees and MVQs, but there's no consistency within the prison system. We've got a distinct lack of skills in the UK. Put them to work there. So the Prison Officers Association, it's too violent for us. Yeah, it is too violent, and I don't condone it. I'm not stupid, but I understand the reasons why, guys. And like I say, prisoners have had enough. In a nutshell, we've had enough. And sadly, the current state of prisons, guys, it's going to take something similar to the Strange Ways riot, right? Before the overall, rather than being like proactive, like nip it in the bud before it gets that far, they're going to have to be reactive, and it's going to go, and it's going to go. And when it goes, it's not if, it's simply when. There's going to be riots, and it's going to go. And someone's been messaging me saying that Bristol's ready to go, Bedford back in special measures. Do you know what I mean? Prisoners are going to stand up, and they're all going to unite one day. And you know what? The old system, they could take over prisons in a nutshell. And if it's the national news, then another one copies, and another one copies, and another one copies. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that, guys. The Prison Officers Association, like I say, they're not out. They don't care two shits about prisoners. It's about prison officers. They want to arm themselves, guys, right? By arming themselves and by being heavy-handed with prisoners, what do you think prisoners are going to take that lying down? Are they fuck? They're going to stand up, they're going to go, and it's going to go from there. Guys, listen, I've been waffling on for nearly 21 minutes, right? Let me know what you think about the video. I don't have all the answers, guys. I'm not that arrogant, you know what I'm saying? I think I've got some good ideas, but that's all the hard ideas. People don't listen to people like me or people like you, people with real-life experience. I might not have had a GCSE to my fucking name. I've got real-life experience, and that stumps any academic qualifications. And me and prison reformers that have been in my position, or people like you that have been in jail, or supporting people that have been in jail, we could sort out the prison system better than these fucking overpaid, highly educated, plum in the mouth muppets that can't relate to us. I'm going to leave you on that note, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out. Peace.